What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into the U.S. Open just because it's coming up, and I think it offers some favorable odds. Right now, you have Djokovic at plus odds and Alcaraz at plus odds. So no matter who you take to win the Open, you're getting plus odds because it's so early on, anything can happen. That being said, obviously, I think it's all rigged and set up, and I think I have a really good gauge on what they're going to do with this because like about a decade ago when I thought all this stuff was real, I remember Djokovic came on the scene and I would continuously pick guys to beat him that I thought were better or at least as good, and he just ran through them and just never looked back, which is what they're doing with Alcaraz now. Now, the thing that I think is important is, so obviously they're trading back and forth. Djokovic won the Aussie Open. I think it was the Aussie Open. It might have been the French. I think it was the Aussie Open. And then Alcaraz won Wimbledon. Now, you have Djokovic playing in the U.S. Open this year. He was obviously banned last year. I think possibly the year before. Alcaraz won last year against Casper Ruud, which is a pretty weak finals opponent. And Djokovic could not participate. For that reason alone, I have Djokovic going to the finals. Let's look at it real or fake. In a real game, he's going to the finals because there's nobody that's on his level, especially on hard courts. And in a scripted league, he's going to the finals because they want that redemption angle, whether he wins or loses, that he's going to be the biggest draw, and it's just a great story. You know, he was banned for a year and a half. It's like when a wrestler gets injured and has to hang up the belt. So I think it's definitely going to be Djokovic. The other question is now, is it going to be Alcaraz? I think it is. They're trying to push the next generation of guys. Holger Rune, I think he just lost too, by the way, but they're just trying to push the new generation. You got Holger Rune, you got Sinner, and Medvedev, however you pronounce his name, but they're not even in the same tier. What they need right now is somebody to make Alcaraz look like the greatest of this generation and like he is as good as anybody in the last generation. The only guy alive, well, not alive, but the only guy playing, and probably alive, to be honest, because the other guys are older or retired, that can do this is Djokovic. Andy Murray, I don't think anyone ever bought him as that good. So he could beat Andy Murray 15 times. It's not going to mean that much. He beats Djokovic, it means so much. However, if he goes ahead and just beats Djokovic now, what it's going to look like, and it's just my opinion, is when, kind of like how Djokovic beat Federer, even though he beat him in his prime, people like to make the excuse, he beat him, when he was out of his prime. He beat him when he was young and Federer was old. And they're not that far apart in age. But here, if Djokovic is still looking strong and he's not getting buried by like losing back-to-back to Alcaraz, who is still only 21, I think it makes them just both look a lot stronger. So I actually like Djokovic, with my wrestling logic, to win the U.S. Open. I think it's going to come down to him and Alcaraz. I don't think it's going to be a shocker. I think it's going to be these same guys, honestly, for the next several Opens. We might get Sinner to replace one of them in like the next French or the next Aussie or one of them. But I think for the foreseeable future, we're going to get Djokovic and Alcaraz. It's going to be a good rivalry. They're going to show us Djokovic still has it, and him just losing twice in a row. Not that it can happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to have him lose again, and then it's just like, okay, well, Alcaraz is the best guy because he's the best guy going, and he's not 38, or I think Djokovic is 38. So, yeah, it might sound a little complex, but essentially, I think the best way for Djokovic to put Alcaraz over long term is for them to have a nice little back and forth rivalry, and Alcaraz will wind up taking more than Djokovic does when it's all said and done. So right now, Djokovic is up 2-1 on him. It could tie 2-2, sure, and I'm talking about majors. I haven't looked into the other events they played in. But yeah, I think Djokovic is going to win this event, and it's going to be Alcaraz in the finals with him. I haven't even looked that much into the other guys. I don't know where Chris Eubanks is at. I can say I like Eubanks to go a little far. I could see him making the round of 16 again, so he could be a good pick. And Tommy Paul's the other guy, just because they're Americans, and I think they want at least one American to look pretty good. You know, I've looked into Sistipas, how the fuck you say his name, that Greek guy with the good, he has nice hair, I'll give him that. I think he'll go pretty far, you know, certain guys. But I think at the end of the day, it's about the winner. And the fact that Djokovic is paying plus odds is pretty good. I think it's definitely going to be him, Alcaraz again. I said this before Wimbledon happened, and it was those two, and Alcaraz won like I thought he would. And in this case, just because, the fact that Alcaraz really won by default the 1 year. Now you might say, oh, well, they want to make it official. They want to show people, that it wasn't a fluke and he would have won with or without Djokovic not being there. That could be the case. I just think they're going to show Djokovic is still, the best guy in tennis. He might be number 2, but he is still the best guy. And that way when Alcaraz beats him, which will probably beat him in the next Open, and then probably the next couple after that, this is probably going to be Djokovic's last major for a long time. I actually don't think he's going to be winning a bunch more after this. That's another reason I like him to win it. But I think it just makes Alcaraz look a lot stronger. So Djokovic probably mows through the field, and I think he might beat him in comeback fashion. It doesn't really matter how he beats him. I mean, I guess if you want to wait and bet live, but what I'm doing is taking Djokovic now while he's at plus odds. I'm not saying it's definitely going to change, but as the field thins out, since he is the right now he's the pretty overwhelming favorite at plus 120. It's 110 or 120, whereas Alcaraz is closer to plus 200. As the field thins out, Djokovic is going to move to minus odds, and you might have a hedge opportunity right up just by picking Djokovic first. So yeah, nothing crazy. I'll be doing some football. We're 2-0 in the college season, which is nice, and I'll be doing a college. So we just recently started. Obviously, played 2 games, so we'll play a few more this weekend. We got some on Thursday, so I'll probably hit them tomorrow. But yeah, I just wanted to hit this real quick. Djokovic versus Alcaraz. Enough. I think Djokovic wins it in like 5 sets, but I'll also try and cover matchups coming up between now and then. There are some. I haven't seen the odds on these, so that's the only reason I'm not, there's nothing that's jumping out at me right now with these. Murray, I don't think he's going too far. If he didn't get that far in Wimbledon, and I think he was out in like the second round, I don't think they're going to do much for him here. So you might get pretty good odds by fading Murray. I think that could be a way to go. And yeah, I just basically wanted to go into what I think will happen. Basically the opposite of Wimbledon. It's going to be the same guys, but I think this time Djokovic gets the nod. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.